After the long delay, your favorite co-hosts are back for another episode of the Less is More Sports podcast. And if you can't see Jacob Klucas' name right now, I don't even want to talk about it. The number one high school player in the class of 2022, Quinn Ewers, after decommitting from Texas, decides he wants to commit to Ohio State University. I'm very upset. I don't even know why you're throwing the L's up, Maury. I mean, they're completely irrelevant right now.
We won 30 yesterday, so yeah.
Against a terrible Syracuse team.
Maury, Duke beat Syracuse.
I don't care. A shutout is a shutout, and I'm proud. Thank you.
You know, whatever floats your boat, my guy. But anyways, we're gonna get started right away. After the long couple week delay, we're gonna start with a nice little matchup, a little exhibition AU game between two of the top players in high school basketball. AU Team Sizzle versus Yipsy Prep. And if those names don't ring a bell, number one senior in the class of 2021, Chet Holmgren, versus the number one junior, Imani Bates. Did you guys get a chance to look at that matchup? Because it was pretty entertaining. I'm not going to
lie. I'm not going to lie. No, I had not, because I've been at work all week.
I guess
I am going to lie.
I don't understand a word you just said.
I said I am going to lie and say I did.
Well, that doesn't really help at all. But anyways, I really wanted to talk about this specifically because Klucas is a big hater of Chet Holmgren, and I think it's hilarious because Chet, the full skill set was on display. I mean, you're talking about a 7'1" guy with length, bringing the ball up the court, shooting threes, taking people off the dribble, blocking shots. I mean, I got a stat line pulled up. He had 31 points, 12 rebounds on 12 of 16 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3, and 6 blocks. Now, Imani, we know he's great. We know he's going to be a stud when he gets to the college and NBA level. I personally compare him to a very Kevin Durant-esque play style, Pete Maury's background. He did his thing, had 36 points, but Team Sizzle did get the win. But the reason I really want to bring this up is because Klucas always says that not always says, but he said way back in the day that Chet Holmgren is just another Steven Zimmerman. And I go back and I watch Steven Zimmerman play. I go back and then I watch Chet Holmgren play now, and I'm thinking, Klucas, I really think you just named a random white guy and said, hey, I think he's going to be a bust for no reason in particular, so I'm going to compare him to a really random white guy. So I don't know how you can watch those two play and think they are anything.
Okay, I can give you another comparison if it makes you feel better. He's going to be another Scalabiciere.
He's a lot more skilled than Scalabiciere, too.
Debatable.
That's not debatable. I don't see Scalabiciere taking Imani Bates off the dribble and then cramming on two defenders like he did in that matchup. So what? Okay, I got to know, why do you think Chet Holmgren's going to be a bust?
I just think he's too small, for one. Yes, he's too small. Too small. I just don't think when you get to the college game and you're going to have to guard, even at the college level, Raptors give Fred VanVleet $85 million to stay in Toronto. When you're talking about going against grown men, even at the college level, he's gonna get pushed and shoved, and I just don't see it translating to. Maybe it translates a little to the college level, but it's definitely not going to translate to an NBA level.
I'm going to love to be on this podcast to tell you that you're wrong when it happens. I mean, because we said this, I mean, there were negative criticisms said about Anthony Davis. Those same criticisms were said about Kristaps Porzingis, and they turned out fine. You can add bulk. I mean, granted, given the size of his shoulders, you're not going to be able to add as much bulk to his frame as Anthony Davis did, but he can. I mean, if to say he's too small now at the high school level, that's very common with a lot of high school recruits. You can add bulk, but you can't add the length that he has, and that length combined with the skill set that he has. I mean, we throw this word around way too much in the recruiting scene, but he's a real unicorn.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
I don't know. I question your basketball knowledge if you don't think that he's a unicorn.
I think he's overrated and overhyped.
Well, when he actually has a very good pro career, I'm going to love to tell you that you're wrong. So I will be on the show and tell you that you're wrong.
And when he becomes a bust, I will be glad to be back on the show and tell you you're wrong.
All right, so basically the one thing I wanted to get out of the way. So now let's talk about the big topic that went on this week. Wednesday night, a lot of young basketball players' dreams became a reality with the NBA draft. Now, before we get into what we're going to talk about with the draft, I want to throw out there. I thought with the short turnaround season, we were going to see a lot of trades, a lot of moving pieces. And the first 15 picks or so pretty much stayed in place for the most part. But then once that 16th pick happened, it just became like a frenzy of trades left and right. I'm still having to pull up the draft sheet just to know who even went where anymore. And it was so hard to keep track of. So, as a Heat fan, I will start off by saying this. I wasn't really the biggest fan at first of drafting Memphis forward Precious Achiuwa. But the more I think about it, the more I think about how Pat Riley loves to draft those blue-collar, high-energy big men, the more I like it. I wanted someone that could stretch the floor maybe a little bit better. But, 32% for a big in college from beyond the arc is not a bad place to start.
I'm not – I told you when it happened, I'm not really a big fan of the Precious Achiuwa drafting for Miami. Just because I think the way his game is played, he's more of it's an undersized, but he's more of an undersized 5 in the NBA. Just by his game. I'm not saying that he can't play the 4. He obviously can play the 4. But I think when the way his game is set, he'll be better off playing the 5. And when you have that and Bam, I think you need more of a stretch big playing next to Bam than you do. Yes, 32% isn't bad, like you said, but I think you need a stretch, pure shooter next to a Bam Adebayo.
That's what I thought at first, but the more and more I watched him, I'm like, he kind of fits that Miami mold of that blue-collar big guy. I think Spoelstra can make that work. Besides, his rookie season, he'll probably won't start, at least not right away. So he'll probably come off the bench where he will be playing that small ball 5 off that Miami bench. Because hopefully, but we'll get into the free agent tracker here in a little bit. But because I'm not a fan of the re-signings of Kelly Olynyk and Myers Leonard at all. So I hope he gets more playing time as a rookie than those two. But
since we're talking about our own teams, I was extremely, extremely happy that the Cats for the 3rd straight year did not take a point guard. As much as I do like Tyrese Halliburton, I don't think that would have been a smart pick. I love Tyrese Halliburton and Killian Hayes, don't get me wrong, but neither of those would have been a smart pick for the Cavs. Isaac Okoro was exactly what the Cavs needed. They needed a wing position player who could lock up and play defense. Darius Garland, the verdict is still out on the defensive side of the basketball for him. We know Colin Sexton isn't the greatest defender, but can give you a bucket. So Isaac Okoro, and take Bruce Pearl's word with a grain of salt, but like Bruce Pearl said, and I do agree to an extent, if Isaac Okoro can develop a consistent jump shot, Isaac Okoro, I think, potentially could reach a all-star level player, but he's got to be able to develop that jump shot consistently. It's there, but it's inconsistent. His form's not bad. It's just a matter of working on it. He can attack the rim very well. We already know at bare minimum he's going to be an elite on-ball defender in the NBA. So I think the Cavs played it safe with this draft pick instead of just trying to hit a home run. They played it safe by just taking the guy that at bare minimum he's not going to be a bust because he's probably going to be around in the NBA for a while due to just his defense.
Maury, who is your team in the NBA? I don't even know.
He's a Celtics fan.
Yeah, and we didn't do nothing I wanted, so that's why I'm quiet.
Understandable. So now I think it's time to get.
Whoa! Time out. Don't disrespect the drafting of Aaron Naismith because shooting was one thing Boston needed, and you added a sniper.
Yeah, that you did. And then, I mean, we heard Jay Billis even talking about how much Boston needs a shooter and how good of a shooter Aaron Naismith is.
I understand that, but I want us to draft a big. No disrespect to fucking I forgot his name. I hate him that much. Either way, our center play. Oh, it's the Thesis or Thesis. How do you say his last name?
Daniel Theis.
Yeah, I do not like him at all. I don't understand why against Miami. It would have been hard to come back from 3-1. But I don't understand why we didn't just have Robert Williams in there banging with Bam. I prefer him guarding Bam over Daniel. But I don't ever get what I want with none of my sports teams any fucking way. I'm glad we got a shooter, but we need a fucking big down there to bang with the big boys down there. I'm not saying we're about to get fucking the next Shaq or some shit, but I'm just saying, like, to get a fucking big, that's if we just do another big. But we need a big. I was happy we got a shooter. I wanted a big later in the draft. I don't think we need another guard, or we already have too many forwards on our fucking team any fucking way.
Well, unfortunately for Boston, a backup point guard was something that they needed, but the selection of the backup point guard they picked was a different thing.
I prefer Trey Jones just because I think he's a at least when I've seen him play, I could be wrong here, but I like him guarding like people than I do fucking Kimba right now because Kimba is fucking just a liability on defense. And I don't know if he's always been like that. I never noticed it was that bad.
He's always been like that.
That was just utter terrible. Teams weren't even beating on the 3. They just pick and roll on Kimba, switch up on him, and just take it to the hole. And it looked like Kimba just had no fucking what's the word? Just no interest in stopping the ball. So
I want to touch on your big man comment because a move that I really want to see happen and a move that I think is going to happen is that Gordon Hayward wants to go to Indiana. He said that today. He said that earlier today. And a move that I think can really see Boston making is that they're going to work a trade to trade Gordon to Indiana for Miles Turner. So how would you feel about
the problem with that is you have to like I get it, like yes, it's not that hard for Gordon to do a sign and trade, but everybody seems to forget that like Boston keeps saying, well, if Indiana wants Gordon, they're gonna have to trade. No, Gordon opted out of his own contract. He is a free agent to do whatever the hell he wants.
Right.
But the fact that Boston, I'm not disagreeing with the trade scenario, a sign and trade at all. But my biggest thing is I keep seeing Boston is saying we want Miles Turner and Victor Oladipo or T.J. Warren. That's not your choice, bud. Like, I'm sorry. Like, he's a free agent. If he wants to walk to Indiana, he can walk to Indiana. Like,
yeah, I think we understand that.
I'm not saying you all. I'm talking about, like, I keep reading that Boston keeps saying this, Boston saying that. And I'm like, it's not your choice. Like, that's not how free agency works, bud. Like,
yeah, when Klucas throws out Bud, that means he's being dead ass serious.
Anyways,
and it's one of those.
But yes, Miles Turner would be a perfect, ideal center for the Celtics.
And I trust him more than bum ass Daniel. I don't know why. Like we have the opposite of the Cavs problem. You say you guys kept drafting guards. We keep drafting forwards, and then it's like.
Here's the thing about Miles Turner. If you really think about it, okay, Miles Turner hasn't turned out necessarily to be the player that maybe we thought he would be coming out of the draft. Like maybe we thought that he could potentially become a star. But I'm not saying you, Les. Quit saying every time I say that, quit thinking I'm talking about you.
I'm saying because I think he's been pretty good.
No, he's been okay. He's been very inconsistent for one. So, if you really think about it, though, Miles Turner is literally the perfect center for almost any NBA team right now. Because he's that stretch big that can step out and shoot the three, and is I won't say elite, but is a very good rim protector.
So he is a very good rim protector, and when you get him shooting the baseline 3-point shots, he's pretty much automatic. And he's
Which
still
is
got some
exactly
skill.
why I don't understand the New Orleans Pelicans trading for Steven Adams. You cannot have Steven Adams and Zion clogging the paint. It doesn't help. It doesn't work.
That's the thing, though. Steven Adams is going to be playing more in the paint, whereas Zion's going to be flash cutting out in the perimeter. So I mean, yeah.
But Zion's offensive game is dominated in the paint. Like whether you could say slashing to the paint, whatever, it's in the paint.
Yes, but that also creates a lot of drive. That also creates a lot of drive and lob situations. So it could work very well.
And it also creates a lot of Dallas versus LeBron in Miami, where they just say, "Okay, we're going to force you to beat us off the three, and we're just going to clog the middle." And that's where New Orleans is going to lose a shit ton of basketball games.
I don't think it'll
Depends on how
work
much
out.
floor spacing they have. What is JJ Redick going to do in the offseason? I mean, what other shooters are they going to sign? What other shooters are going to make themselves known in the 2020-2021 season? So, I mean, the thing is, if you have perimeter shooting, you can offset that. I mean, Brandon Ingram can spot up and hit 3-point shots. Lonzo Ball is becoming a better 3-point shooter. So, I mean,
Lonzo Ball may not be there.
Depending. Obviously, I say all this, all depending, of course, if you would just be patient, Klucas, that patience is virtue, sir. And we say all this depending on what's going to happen in this very wild NBA free agent season.
So, there's agent that he's not a free agent, but I was very curious to hear you guys' opinions because you guys haven't said nothing about it all week, at least according to me.
Well, you haven't checked the group chat all week either.
The James Harden in Brooklyn.
That's gonna be stupid.
Doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. It's not.
You can't have two ISO ball handlers in the backfield like that. I mean, the backcourt like
that. They may make the NBA Finals, but they're gonna very easily lose it.
I don't even think they'll make it that far. They'll probably make I think playoffs is realistic.
Having Kevin Durant obviously makes you a title contender, but you cannot have as your second and third option ISO, dribble the air out the ball.
Well, thanks for repeating after me, but I got you.
So it's never going to work. If you're going to do that trade, then you're going to have to trade Kyrie for James Harden to even have it remotely work.
So I'm like on the fence about it because I think a finals is not guaranteed, but like it's high. But first of all, I don't like your fucking comment with they're going to easily lose. Like, chill out. But I think it's hard because you have to talk to both of them. And a lot of people
if you run your lineup with Kyrie, Harden, and KD, they're going to easily lose an Eastern Conference Finals matchup against either Boston or Miami.
As great as that would fucking be. No, I feel like, first of all, everybody keeps saying that Kyrie has to go for Harden to come in. Like, no, this was Kyrie's idea. You really think they're gonna fucking trade him? No. Job. And
first of all, it was not Kyrie's idea, but continue.
No, the article I read said this was Kyrie's idea to get Harden to Brooklyn.
And everything else says James Harden wants to play with KD.
You have to understand too that, no disrespect to the East because I'm in the fucking East, but it's still not like the best conference in the world. And let's look at all the fucking the teams that are strong. You got, I'm just gonna say the Bucks, just get them out the way. Giannis can't fuck with KD, killing that right now. The Celtics, shit. If we get a fucking big man, we could probably take them to 7. The Heat, all right, I told you about the fucking Heat.
Yeah, and you're wrong, but that's okay. You're entitled to be wrong every now and again. I've been wrong before.
Shit. Drop my remote in my city. No, I already told you. The Heat cannot fuck with Brooklyn. It was
Stop.
It was a nice 1 year. You guys had your year. You guys had your little Minnesota like year, Minnesota football year. It's all good.
That's
You
cute.
got to for a second, but stop it.
Minnesota didn't make the national title either. Minnesota didn't make the college football playoff, so I don't know how her year is anything similar to theirs.
That was my comparison. You guys, okay? How about this? You guys had your Butler basketball 2 years. You guys had your little fiasco, but now it's time to get back to reality. So
I don't know how you can say that with a young core and a bunch of vets that play as gritty as Miami does, and a team that's as well coached with Eric Spoelstra.
All right, anyways, we're getting off track here. We're off track.
You're the one who started it getting it off track. Now he wants to complain, man. Well, look, see how that goes, Mari. Come on.
We're talking about Brooklyn right now. We're not talking about Miami.
We were kind of talking about both, but yeah, sure. He was talking about Brooklyn being better than Miami.
Me saying Kyrie's got to go for Harden. It's not saying to make a contract or a trade work. It's gonna have to go to make the team work. It's not gonna work.
No, I agree with they had to trade away. They had to trade Kyrie. The trade I saw shows that they had to trade away pretty much all their bench.
Their entire bench.
I don't agree with that. That's why I feel like you should run the tables with just KD and Kyrie first.
Yeah, but here's the other thing. If my offer is on the table, James Harden for Kyrie, and my options going into next year, knowing that Kyrie and KD have not played together yet, James Harden and KD haven't played together since Harden became a superstar, but have played together before. I'm going to take my chances with trading away Kyrie Irving and running with James Harden and KD because they have a better chance at winning an NBA title, in my opinion, together than a Kyrie and a KD.
No, I would actually agree with that, yeah.
Because I would rather trade Kyrie and potentially run my lineup next year to where you can maybe, when you trade Kyrie, you can maybe keep Spencer Dinwiddie. And I'd run my lineup next year with Spencer Dinwiddie and James Harden in my backcourt rather than have Kyrie and James Harden and have absolutely nobody backing them up. Have guys like Wayne Ellington backing them up.
Yeah, another ridiculous trade I saw with that. This is just for shits and giggles. They said, imagine Houston trading Westbrook and Harden to Brooklyn. And then I was like, you're going to see a fucking Kevin Durant request this trade from Brooklyn, immediately.
So, anyways, we got off track from the NBA draft. So, Les, who were your top 5 biggest steals of the draft?
Biggest steals. All right. So, my biggest steal came at the number 15 overall pick when the Magic decided to select Cole Anthony. I mean, you and I have had countless conversations on this. You and I love his game. I don't think freshmen really fit in well with Roy Williams' system at North Carolina. He still, don't get me wrong, had a very good freshman season. It didn't really translate to a lot of team success. A lot of that also comes because he was injured too. But it kind of went hand in hand, not all the way, but regardless, the skill set's there. He's got a father that played in the NBA. He's got a good mentor. Absolutely love the kid's game. I think the Magic got a very good scoring point guard, which is the trend you want in today's game. You don't really want that strictly facilitator as much anymore. I think it's trending. I think with the likes of Steph Curry and Damian Lillard, the trend of those score-first shooting point guards is really where the NBA is going, and I really like the Magic picking him up. Magic made the playoffs last year, lost to the Bucks. I think this is the right move to keep them moving forward. My second steal, and I've had to think a little bit about this one. I really like the Pistons drafting. Well, he was drafted by the Nets, but traded to the Pistons with the number 19th overall pick, and that's Saddiq Bey. I think Saddiq Bey is one of the more versatile players in this draft. Complete Swiss Army knife, can kind of do it all. With that kind of skill set, I think he's going to be valuable to be on any roster he plays on. So it's my number 2 steal of the draft. Shout out to you, Klucas, on number 21, Tyrese Maxey. I think Tyrese Maxey can be put at his ceiling that next Kentucky guard to really make a staple, that Kentucky scoring guard to really make his presence felt in the NBA. We saw in the NBA playoffs this year with the emergence of Tyler Hero, where Jamal Murray took the next step. I think Tyrese can be that scoring guard from Kentucky that can potentially do a lot of those similar things. Plus, the kid's work ethic is off the charts. I know I'm not really telling you anything with that. But, yeah, so that's my number 3. Number 4 steal of the draft. Still had to think a little bit about this one. I promise I'm going to get to the second round here in a little bit, but maybe not. The Nuggets drafted by the Bucks with the number 24th overall pick, traded to the Nuggets. R.J. Hampton, insanely talented player at the guard position, long, can handle the ball, can shoot the ball, has star potential. And to add that to what the Nuggets already have, they have a bunch of unicorns on that team anyway. And R.J. Hampton kind of fits that mold. So I think that was a complete steal.
And kind of just touching on that real quick. Me and my roommate were kind of talking about that when he was like, why do they need R.J. Hampton? Because R.J. Hampton, because really when you look at Hampton and Murray, they're not really one set guards.
They're not.
They can play the 1 or the 2 and do them both very well. So
exactly.
you can run a lineup of R.J. Hampton and Jamal Murray together at some point, and it's not going to affect really anything that they do.
And plus, you're going to add length to an already long team, already team that has size and length that can handle the ball. I mean, Denver is just scary in the future. And so I guess with my last pick for my number 5 steal, and I'm very disappointed that I am going to go to the second round. I'm going to name a couple honorable mentions. I really like the Grizzlies acquiring Desmond Bane from the Celtics' 30th overall pick. I think Desmond Bane's that type level of left-handed shooter that can thrive in the NBA. Of course, another honorable mention, I think the Spurs are a perfect fit for my guy, Trey Jones. But my 5th steal of the draft, and we are going all the way down to I'm going to count it up right here, 48th overall pick, where the Golden State Warriors drafted Nico Mannion. Like, I loved Nico Mannion when he was at Pinnacle High School. Definitely another kind of like similar to what I said about Cole Anthony, that scoring guard that's trending in that way. Not to mention to bring him to Golden State where he gets to learn from Steph Curry, from Steve Kerr. I think it's a match made in heaven in the long run. So those are my 5 steals. Mari, I think you're up.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I do not have 5. I have 3, and this is awkward.
Nothing.
It's awkward because 2 out of the 3 are all Duke players. But contrary to popular belief, I love Mike Krzyzewski. I think he's great. I think he's probably the best coach at developing players. But in no order, to be honest with you.
I don't know why you're making that face, Klucas. You stop that right now.
So the Hornets getting Vernon Carey, I think, was a big fucking deal. And especially because you got LaMelo Ball earlier in the draft. The way I see it is those two. What's LaMelo, shooting guard? So I'm pretty sure he'll have the ball probably more in his hands than
LaMelo can really play 1 through 3. Before being
that's what I'm saying.
He's better suited at the 1, but yes, 1 through 3.
I'm pretty sure Charlotte will have the ball in his hands most of the time. But the way I look at it is you have LaMelo running a pick and roll with Carey, or even a fucking lob to Carey. Just anything with them two blows my fucking mind. Like, I fucking love it. So there's that. The second one was Trey Jones, just because he's going from probably one of the best college basketball coaches. Well, is the best college basketball coach of all time. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I want you to repeat that. Repeat that again, Mark. Say it again.
Of all time. And then you're going to probably one of the best NBA coaches of this generation. So I think for him developing, it's going to be great. I don't think you could pick a better team for him. Yes, I wanted him in Boston, but, beggars can't be choosers. And I'm excited, to be honest with you. I'm excited for Vernon Carey and LaMelo and Trey Jones with Popovich in that lineup. I know they're probably losing DeRozan, so he might have to.
He picked up his player option.
Okay, well then in that case, that's better because now you're surrounded. You got veterans with them, teach them the ropes and whatnot. And before I say this next one, which is probably going to give it away, what are the chances that Giannis leaves Milwaukee?
Don't you freaking say it. I already know where he's going with this.
No, that's
my God.
No, he's going there.
Maury, don't.
Don't you do it.
No, somebody answer that question. The way you answer that question determines what
I mean, Giannis could definitely very well leave Milwaukee, but please don't finish this. Oh my gosh, I beg of you, stop it.
I know exactly where he's going.
So, let's talk about steals, if you don't mind.
It wasn't a steal.
He might not even make the roster.
Shut up.
It's not even that. He'll probably make the roster, but it's the fact that it wasn't a steal. He went exactly where he was projected to go. That's not a steal.
Oh, no, I lost my sheet.
Please, just never find it because we don't want you to finish this.
Okay, I won't go there. I'll keep that one in class at school.
Please, save it for them down there.
This is not really a steal. I just love the fucking pick. The Warriors drafted Wiseman. I just wanted to get it out there. I love the pick. That was probably the best pick in the fucking draft, personally. Now, granted, if Clay got injured a couple of days before the draft, they probably would have got LaMelo instead. But I love this pick so much because I feel like their biggest weakness to me was the center position. Even during those 5 years in a row in the finals, I always felt like the center was just like their worst position, which kind of blows my mind that bum-ass Tristan Thompson didn't expose them. But I love the pick so much. Now, granted, when Clay is healthy, God help him. I hope he comes back the same person or even better. You have a lineup with fucking Curry, Clay, I guess Wiggins if he wants to stay.
No, hold on. Time out. I'm going to stop you right there just because with the trade that happened this week, say Klay Thompson comes back, my lineup I would very easily run is Steph, Clay, Kelly Oubre, Draymond, and James Wiseman.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I love Kelly. I love Kelly Oubre.
I apologize. I forgot about Oubre. I apologize. But still, this is like even what I said, a great fucking lineup. And if Wiggins is still there, you have him coming off the bench. That's a great fucking lineup for the Warriors. These guys really know how to reload. Now, I guess I do high five. I didn't think I had five. Oh yeah, that's right. It was something that I definitely missaid. I wish I kept to myself. You guys corrected me really quick on it. It was as a boogie to Utah. And I think because the way I play 2K, I always run my 4, my 5 are always like some big motherfuckers, like guys who can dominate that paint. So I just feel like everybody's going to do it. And I try to do that in real life.
Hold on. Are we comparing a real life basketball game to 2K right now?
No, I'm saying that's why I said it because that's how I run my associations. So I was thinking with my 2K brain, not my actual like real life brain. And I like the as a boogie pick just because if God forbid Rudy gets injured, you got a nice healthy mofo back there. It helps the bench a lot because I always feel like their bench kind of ass too.
Utah seems to be taking the step in the wrong direction in an era where stretch 4s and stretch 5s are a thing. Utah just seems to say screw it because you already have Rudy Gobert. They drafted Azubuike for his backup, and then they just went out and re-signed because he played there before, Derek Favors. So in a league where we're supposed to be going to the 3-point line, Utah is packing the paint, and Utah fans and whatnot are going to wonder why they keep getting bounced in the first round or losing in the second round, this is going to be why. Because you haven't gotten the right pieces around Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert.
They need a small forward too, in my opinion.
I mean, they had Bogdanovich.
Those are right, but you're not somebody you fucking fear. Like, oh no, don't pull up. Here comes Joe fucking Ingles.
So here is my top 5 steals. My honorable mention are actually 3 guys, or I have 4 guys. My honorable mention, 3 of them last you already touched on. Sadiq Bey was in my honorable mention. Do love Sadiq Bey. Very underrated shooter. Yes, he's a Swift Army Knight, but he is a very underrated spot up, consistent shooter.
He shot close to 50% from beyond the arc this year.
Yeah, and Trey Jones was another one. I do love the fit in San Antonio. Yes, him and DeJounte Murray are very similar, but I think it is a good compliment for him to learn from Popovich and DeJounte Murray for Trey Jones to possibly become an even better defender.
Agreed.
Nico Mannion definitely coming in is probably the best outside of Sean Livingston is probably the best backup point guard Golden State has had behind Steph Curry. Because Nico, from a talent standpoint, could with this Golden State team maybe eventually be a 6th Man of the Year candidate in Golden State. And my last one was Cassius Winston. He got traded around so many times during draft night that I don't remember exactly what team he actually ended up with. Actually, you know what? I'm going to look that up because that's going to bother me.
I'm doing it right now. He is with the Wizards.
Okay. So, obviously, with John Wall demanding a trade last night, there is a window of opportunity potential for Cassius Winston in Washington. So, I thought those were some steals, especially when Cassius Winston was projected a late first-round pick and ended up going later in the second round. I thought that was a great pickup. So we go into my top 5. I'm going from 5 to 1. So my number 5, if anybody knows, if you know, you know, Paul Reed to Philadelphia was an absolute steal at the number 58 pick in the draft.
I respect it.
Paul Reed could potentially be the perfect 4 next to a Joel Embiid. That was just Paul Reed slipped from a potential teens to 20s guy in the first round to the second to last pick in the NBA draft. That is a steal for the Philadelphia 76ers. Number 4, I got Jameis Ramsey at going number 43 to Sacramento. Another guy that was a projected late first-round pick. I had him a long time, all the times going in my mock drafts to Toronto at that 29th pick. And he ends up at number 43 to Sacramento. I think that's a steal, especially with Bogdanovich getting traded eventually at some point. Buddy Hield potentially still wanting out. There's going to be a lot of room for playing time for Jameis Ramsey down in Sacramento. Staying with the Kings, number 3, Tyrese Halliburton at 12. He is a guy that I thought was a top 5 player in this draft, and he dropped all the way to 12. He got passed up by a lot of teams that needed a point guard, and they absolutely slept on Halliburton. And especially, everybody said, well, why do they need a point guard, especially after last night? De'Aaron Fox signed the max deal. Halliburton can play off ball alongside De'Aaron Fox. Number 2, another guy that slipped to the second round, Tyrell Terry to the Dallas Mavericks was a steal. Because that is a point guard you can play next to Luka Doncic because Luka's going to handle the ball, and Tyrell Terry is a knockdown shooter. So for Luka to just be able to handle the ball and dish it around to guys like Tyrell Terry for spot-up shots, steal. And my number 1 steal of the draft, who I thought was a top 5 player in the draft and fell to number 9, Denny Avdija, fell to the Washington Wizards. You talk about a guy that could – complement very well off Bradley Beal, who I thought also originally John Wall. Denny Avdija is going to be an absolute steal. He's going to prove to be, I believe, a top 4 player in this draft. And I think him and Bradley Beal complement each other very, very well. So Those are my top 5 biggest steals. So we're
Next
gonna
time we
switch
go
it
to
up.
the disappointments now, or the
Yep. Let's start with Mari. Who is
Yeah,
your
let's start with
biggest
Mari.
disappointments or biggest shockers?
I think I said at the beginning, it's fucking Boston not getting them fucking big.
Okay, so that's 1 out of 5.
Well, shit, I actually didn't.
I do want to
prepare
say,
for this part.
because there's going to be a couple of these. I don't know if we can come up with 5 specifically, but I do think we got to at least have a couple. I mean, not just have like
Oh,
one.
I've got 5 specifically.
Well, that's
Well, I
fine.
don't know,
I'm just
but we're
saying
getting
we don't have to have 5. Just
Yeah.
if you
You don't
can,
have to.
great. But if not, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Our millions of viewers will not judge us.
You mean like team disappointment or just like player position in the draft?
It could
Honestly,
be
either
a team that shocked you that picked a player you didn't think, or a player went to a certain position you didn't, or a certain pick you didn't think they should have. Whatever shocked you.
Off the rip, this is no disrespect. I know I just praised Duke, but I did not think these are the 3 because they all got drafted like simultaneously. I didn't think Winston, Stanley, or Scrub was going to get drafted. Don't get me wrong. I like seeing people succeed. It was good that they all got drafted. But after like the 50th pick, I was just like, nah, shit. I don't think they're getting drafted.
Shout out to Louisville native Jay Scrub, Trinity grad. Well, not grad, but Trinity guy Jay Scrub for getting drafted by the LA Clippers at that. Well, got drafted by Brooklyn, traded to LA, but
those 3 I did not think. I just like shit, dude. Shout out to Lane for the Isaiah Joe because he texted me about it. But I don't really know. To be honest with you, I mean, I'm pretty sure there is. I'm probably seeing it. But now that you explain what you explained, the picking as a bookie was pretty fucking bad because they cannot rely on just Mitchell to shoot them out of a game, shoot them into a game. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have. I think
all
the
right,
Knicks
Les.
have, but nobody's really talking about that.
Can I go, Maury? Are you done?
Yep,
Yeah.
go ahead, Les.
Well, my first shocker came with the number 4 overall pick in the draft, when the Chicago Bulls decided to go with Florida State forward Patrick Williams. No. To all you Seminole faithful out there, I don't want to throw any disrespect out there because I think he has a
Mari
very
Upchucks at the name Florida State.
I
Look, all you
don't
Florida
want to
State.
throw any disrespect to the Seminole Nation because I think he's a very talented player. I think he's got a lot of upside. Here's the thing. I don't think he right now was worthy of a number 4 overall pick. I'm really big on not drafting players that high that didn't start in college. We saw it a few years back with Dion Waiters when he got drafted by your Cavaliers, who was not even a starter for Syracuse University. Now we're seeing it again with Patrick Williams. Could I think he'd be a very good player? Yeah. Do I think he was worthy of that number 4 overall pick? No. I think if the Bulls wanted him that bad, they could have worked a trade and gotten him later in the draft, but it is what it is. Very similar logic to, not to switch sports, but what the Giants should have done with Daniel Jones. I think they could have gotten more while drafting Daniel Jones later in the draft. Similar situation to Bulls, if they wanted Patrick Williams, could have gotten him later in the draft and potentially gotten more out of it. My number 2 shocker of the draft, and I can't believe they actually did this. When Mari, I'm talking to you, Boston Celtics decided to draft a player that I liked in college a lot, but I don't think he's translating at all to the pros, Peyton Pritchard. How I liked Peyton Pritchard in college. In college, he was one of the best point guards in the nation. As a pro prospect, I don't like him over Malachi Flynn, Trey Jones. I really don't like him over Ashton Higgins, who didn't even get drafted, which that's a surprise, but I'm not going to put that on my list. Cassius Winston, don't like him over any of those guys as a pro prospect. So that was my second shocker. And I mean, that's pretty much really all I got as far as shockers go. I mean, everything else, with how 2020 is going, nothing really else surprised me. So,
All right. So number 5, you just touched on it. Peyton Pritchard going number 26 to Boston. I thought with a lot of other point guards on the board, Boston, yes, needed a backup point guard, but with guys like Trey Jones, Cassius Winston, Malachi Flynn, Jameis Ramsey, who can even play the one potentially in the league, Ashton Hagans, all these guys that were on the board, they took the worst one of them all, out of my opinion. That really shocked me. Number 4 came at the number 6 pick for the Atlanta Hawks, Onyeka Okongwu. Now, not shocked in terms of the player. I'm shocked in terms of the pick. Um, you already have John Collins. You have Clint Capella. What was the need for another center? Now, if Atlanta trades Capella for something, okay, now the pick makes more sense. But as of right now, the pick doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me just because you have Capella, you have John Collins. There's really no need for an Okongwu there as well. Number 3, you touched on it. Patrick Williams going number 4. Not so much the player, but you could have easily, like you said, traded down probably to about number 7 and traded up with Detroit, and still gotten Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams was drawing a lot of praise after his combine. Was projected to go as high as potentially number 6. Never would have saw top 4. So I thought, honestly, the Bulls, I honestly thought that's where Denny Avdija was going to end up at. And obviously it didn't happen. Patrick Williams, I think down the line is a good fit for Chicago in terms of the defensive side of the ball, but I don't think he'll turn out to be a number 4 worthy pick. Number 2, and I caught some drawback from one of these guys in the podcast, not named Mari, for this one. Obi Toppin, number 8 to New York. Now, my hate for this pick wasn't Obi Toppin. Love Obi Toppin. My hate was the fact that the New York Knicks desperately need a ball handler, desperately need a point guard to put alongside RJ Barrett. You already have an abundance of forwards on the team, and with Tyrese Halliburton sliding and sliding and sliding. I thought Detroit would have taken Tyrese Halliburton. Nope, they took Killian Hayes. I'm not going to hate that. I love Killian Hayes' game. So I'm thinking, okay, the Knicks are in prime position to take Tyrese Halliburton. They're going to get their point guard. Halliburton complements RJ Barrett completely in the backcourt. I said it works out. And they take Obi Toppin. It just doesn't make sense to me. You're adding him to an abundance of forwards. Now, granted, he may be the best forward of them all, but you already have an abundance of forwards. You have no ball handlers, and you choose Obi Toppin over a guy like Tyrese Halliburton. It does not make sense to me. But that's me. And number 1, I said it in a post. Jalen Smith, number 10 overall to the Phoenix Suns. Love Jalen Smith. But Jalen Smith would have been the big guy at number 14 for Boston to take. Not number 10. I know what Phoenix is thinking, but it's not what they needed. Jalen Smith's game is more of a stretch 5, Miles Turner-like game in the NBA. They're going to want to try to put him at the 4 spot because of his shooting ability next to a DeAndre Ayton, and it's not going to work because I don't think Jalen Smith is that good of a defender to defend the perimeter and pick-and-roll situations. Great rim protector, but not a good perimeter pick-and-roll defender. So I thought with guys like Tyrese Halliburton on the board, yes, you just traded for Chris Paul, but why not take your point guard for the future when Chris Paul's done, either off his contract in 2 years or if he were to retire before then? I don't know why you wouldn't take one of those guys at that number 10 pick. And kind of the same situation with Patrick Williams. If you wanted Jalen Smith that bad, trade down, get assets, and then take Jalen Smith. But those are my top 5 biggest shockers. So let's stick with the losers category. Who are the top 5 losers of the draft?
Mari, would you like to go first?
This is team-wise losers. So who's starting?
You can throw Utah in there. I don't know why I'm just shitting on my team so much. That's what I have is Utah. I feel like every team, for the most part, not every team. I'm sorry. Somebody else, go ahead.
So for me, there wasn't really, to me, there really wasn't a clear-cut loser. I think there were a bunch of teams that maybe got better, but to me, there wasn't really a clear-cut loser. I think if I had to pick one, I would have to pick Boston just because I absolutely hated that Peyton Pritchard pick and the fact that they need a big man and they didn't get one. That would probably be the closest. Winners wise, I mean, I know we're not there yet, so I'm not going to give my choices. But even then, it's like there's nobody there. There's only maybe one or two or so that actually stand out. So I mean, I think this draft had a lot of pieces, but maybe not a lot of star talent. So I think
that's why I don't sleep on this draft because
Yeah, I
this
know.
draft, no, it wasn't star powered, but this draft provided a lot of NBA contenders or teams that were right there on the verge of being contenders, a lot of a great opportunity to take their one or two role players that they needed to be better.
This draft reminds me so much of 2013, or the one that whichever one Anthony Bennett went number one overall. I believe that was 2013. And at first glance, we're thinking, oh, this is a weak draft. You know, you have two Indiana guys going in the top four. You know, there's not a lot of talent. But then as we progressed, there ended up being some very nice players in that draft.
So my top 5 losers of the draft. Number 5, Utah. Opportunity to potentially take a stretch big to put next to a Rudy Gobert. If you were going to take a center, to take maybe a better shooting center, where I thought maybe a Daniel Oturu would have came in more in handy right there. Utah was definitely a loser of the draft for me. Number 4, the Chicago Bulls. Patrick Williams right now is not the piece to really put you in a playoff position, whereas I thought maybe a Denny Avdija would be potentially. Your chance to possibly move up and take a LaMelo Ball or, something like that. You know, you didn't make a move. Chicago, kind of a loser to me. Number 3, the Phoenix Suns. Just talked about it. You took Jalen Smith, not really the great complementary piece for the 4 position for DeAndre Ayton. It's kind of a loss. Number 2, also touched on it. The New York Knicks. You had an opportunity to add on to this young roster and potentially make it better, and I don't think they really did that. And my number 1 loser, and this really comes if they were to pull the trade and say screw it and trade for Harden and go for Kyrie, Harden, and KD and trade their entire bench, and you have an opportunity to take a guy to maybe bring off your bench and they end up with nobody drafted, the Brooklyn Nets were the losers of the draft. So those are my losers.
I think it's time to get to the winners aspect of the draft, which I'll go ahead and knock mine out. I don't have 5 because, like I said, there's nobody. I think this is a very deep class that we're not going to know how good it is until about 5 years down the road. But my number 1 winner, I think, is the Golden State Warriors. They needed a center. They drafted the best one in the draft. That's a perfect fit for the organization and the style that they're going to want him to run, in James Wiseman, who has very good potential. And they also got like Klucas said earlier, the best backup point guard to Steph they've had since Sean Livingston, who could potentially be a future 6th Man of the Year candidate. So to me, they're a clear-cut winner. I'm also going to go with the defending champs. Sorry. Nope. I'm take that back. Never mind. Nope, take that back. Nope.
Time out. Free agent Gordon Hayward signing a 4-year deal with the Charlotte Hornets.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Okay. So he does not go to Indiana. That is disappointing.
So
But
that's us.
Look, I will say though, this is probably the best offseason that Michael Jordan has had with a team, maybe ever.
Charlotte, maybe a sleeper 8 seed potentially.
I mean, this is probably, like I said, this is probably the best offseason Michael Jordan's had in a long time, if not ever. So yeah, I think the Golden State Warriors are my clear-cut winner. Nobody really else stands out to me.
So check
Maury?
this out, right? I would say they were the winner if Clay didn't get injured. But because I've been just loving what Charlotte's been doing, I think Charlotte is more of a winner than Golden State, but not by a lot. Not by a lot at all. They're in the same fucking tier. Because like you said, they needed a center and they got a center. And I remember being younger, and I always said to myself, the Warriors were always lack the center position because they're never going to get in that top 10, top 15 pick to get a center. If you would have told me that they'd win 15 games after losing Clay and stuff, I would have thought you were insane. But it is what it is. I really like the LaMelo Ball, Vernon Carey. Now fucking Gordon Hayward team. So I'm really excited to see what Charlotte does this year. That was
when I did this, I had 6 teams, one as an honorable mention, but I kind of just could not leave them off. So I have 6 winners. Because I'm an overachiever.
He signed with
Ooh, we got a badass.
So number 6, I had the Minnesota Timberwolves. I thought Anthony Edwards was the right pick for number 1. He's going to complement D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns very well, especially if he reaches that defensive potential. Him and D'Angelo Russell in the backcourt are going to be a dangerous thing. Also, an underrated one they ended up trading for him. Jaden McDaniels is an underrated player to put at that 4 spot next to Karl Anthony Towns.
I like Jaden McDaniels a lot.
He can get really his defensive potential is right there with Anthony Edwards in terms of if he hits that defensive potential, he could be the perfect power forward next to Karl Anthony Towns. Number 5, I had the San Antonio Spurs were winners. You get Devin Vassell and you get Trey Jones. Vassell, you can play next to DeRozan because he's a better shooter. He's the better defender. So you could really run a lineup with Vassell and DeRozan in your lineup. And Trey Jones as a backup point guard, I'll take that any day of the week. Number 4, the Philadelphia 76ers. They made all the right moves in this draft to put around Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. First, they traded off Al Horford's god-awful contract. That was the starters. They traded Josh Richardson, who kind of ended up being a bust after last year for them, and got back Danny Green, who is a perfect role player for a Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. And then you add Philadelphia needed shot creators. They added one of the better shot creators in the draft in Tyrese Maxey, like you talked about. You added Isaiah Joe. Shout out to Lane. Knockdown shooter. You want to surround your team with shooters. Isaiah Joe was one of the better shooters in the draft. And then Paul Reed, who I touched on earlier, could potentially be the starting power forward next to a Joel Embiid and be the perfect fit. I thought Philadelphia aced their draft and everything they did on draft night prior and leading up to the draft. Number 3, the Sacramento Kings. Tyrese Halliburton, Jameez Ramsey, and Kenyon Martin Jr. I thought they aced their draft. They secured their spot even if De'Aaron Fox didn't sign his max deal. But I thought they aced their draft. Number 2, and I'm surprised nobody, specifically you, Les, I'm surprised nobody touched on this. The Dallas Mavericks. Josh Green, Tyrell Terry, and Tyler Bay all heading to Dallas.
Oh, yeah, there was a Tyler Bay. Okay.
Tyler Bay was drafted by somebody else, traded to Dallas.
Yeah. No, I kept thinking you were trying to say Sadiq Bay, but then I forgot about Tyler Bay from Colorado. So, yeah, that's why I caught myself.
Tyrell Terry, I touched on, it could potentially be a starting point guard that you can run next to Luka Doncic because he's a knockdown shooter to put next to Luka. Josh Green could be a great complementary if you want to play Luka at the 3, Josh Green at the 2, or if you want to swap them, Josh Green could be a great 3-and-D player in the NBA. Kind of reminds me of Josh Hart a little bit. And then Tyler Bay could be a solid bench contributor for you. And then number 1, I'm kind of upset that Maury spoiled it for me. The Charlotte Hornets were the winner of the draft. You get LaMelo Ball, You get Vernon Carey. You get Nick Richards. You get Grant Riller, who's a excellent 3-point shooter as well. My question is, you're going to have to probably figure out something to do with either Terry Rozier or Devontae Graham. You're probably going to end up having to trade one of them. But I thought Charlotte, especially now adding Gordon Hayward, they needed bigs. You went out and got 2 underrated bigs in this draft, in my opinion, with Vernon Carey and Nick Richards, ironically both playing for Kentucky and Duke, for me and Les. They needed those bigs. They needed a potential superstar-like player. They got that with LaMelo Ball, and then they got solid pieces around them. So
I do want to
really
add, yeah, I will
did.
add Charlotte obviously to my winners of the draft. I mean, the reason I really didn't say it at first is because I just felt like I already kind of touched on it when I said that this is the best off season that Michael Jordan's had in a long time. So I felt like that kind of went hand in hand with the draft as well. But yeah, so I mean, just to make that clear, I do have Charlotte as one of my winners of the draft.
And not only did Philadelphia end up with Danny Green, but also getting Seth Curry.
Oh yeah, that was a great pick. Absolutely great pick. I mean, that's just gonna. I mean, they added so much spacing to go around Simmons and Embiid, which is something that they desperately needed.
So yeah. So now, the moment we've been talking about all these sleepers, all the shockers. Who are your top 5 Rookie of the Year candidates?
Mario, want to go first?
Nah, you go ahead. I'll let you take this one first.
You want me to take it?
You know who I want to say, but yeah. Go ahead.
Well, we'll stop the segment after that because I already know what he wanted to say, and I
know what he wanted to say
hear
too.
it.
So my number 1 Rookie of the Year candidate, I'm gonna say, I mean, it's tough to go against the number 1 overall pick, Anthony Edwards. I think the kid's got all kinds of upside. Like you touched on earlier, has put in a great situation, almost a perfect fit with that Timberwolves roster. I think he's going to get enough looks, even playing next to D'Lo and Cat. I think he'll get enough looks to be able to put up get his points and to potentially make a impact on the defensive side of the ball. Number 2, I'm going to go with James Wiseman again. Sticking with that trend of perfect fit, something that the Warriors desperately needed. So even he may not, being that that he's a big man playing in a guard-heavy league, I think he's going to have his impact, and he's definitely going to be getting some looks as the Rookie of the Year potentially. Number 3, I'm going to go with Cole Anthony. I really like Cole. I think he should start from day one, personal opinion. And I think he can be that next step, that next piece to put to improve the Magic. And I think he's that perfect mold for, I guess, the guard play that we're looking for in today's game. Yeah, 4 and 5, I had to think about it a little bit, but I'm gonna go with my 4 is shout out to you, Klucas, on this one. I'm gonna go Tyrese Maxey. A little bit of a reach. You know, he is going to be playing around a lot of floor spacers as well. May or may not get the minutes at first, but I really like Tyrese Maxey's skill set for the NBA game, so I would not rule him out. And number 5 had to do a little bit more thinking as well, but I'm gonna go with Saddiq Bey. I like his versatility. I like his perimeter shooting, and he's going to the Pistons, who traded away the best shooter on the team to the Clippers. Stupid, but you know they got Saddiq Bey, so I think he'll get a lot of looks. And I think there are Villanova players that are very slept on in the NBA. I mean, we saw the rookie season that Eric Paschall had last year. Jalen Brunson is a very underrated player in the NBA right now. So I like Saddiq Bey. So to round out to.
And shout out to Kyle Lowry, who's also from Villanova.
Absolutely. So to round out my 5 again, Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, Cole Anthony, Tyrese Maxey, and Saddiq Bey. Those are my 5 choices for Rookie of the Year.
All right, Maury.
I only have 1.5. the one is for me. I think James Wiseman is going to run away with it real quick, only because I know he'll probably play the more minutes than anybody else.
Okay, actually, before you continue, I'm gonna swap. I'm gonna swap Sadiq Bey with. Actually, I'm gonna change my order. I don't know why. I just had a complete brain fart. My number one is actually LaMelo Ball as Rookie of the Year. So it's LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, Cole Anthony, and Tyrese Maxey.
I was kind of worried that he wasn't.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why I just brain farted, but obviously LaMelo Ball is my clear-cut number one choice for Rookie of the Year.
All right. So I have James Wiseman because
And something about that number 3 overall pick. I wanted to add that as well.
He will play more. I think he'll play more minutes. He'll be used more because he's the. Hold on, I'm trying to word this right. I think he was just the most needed piece in the draft for a team like Golden State. And Golden State, even though they don't have Clay, they still have an excellent roster, not excellent, but a good roster. And they will probably reach the playoffs, probably be a top 4 seed or top 5 seed.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
No,
Stop
I
it.
won't
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
I'm gonna keep going. They'll probably be a top 5 seed. And that will help Wiseman's case a lot, especially if he's down there banging with those big guys in the Western Conference. Boom! There you go.
Okay, well, Golden State's not going to be a top 5 seed in the Western Conference without Klay Thompson. But anyways, so my top 5, starting at number 5, was the number 1 overall pick, Anthony Edwards. I had to show a little bit of love to the number 1 pick. You always have to throw them in the running just because they were the number 1 overall pick. Number 4. So when I do my Rookie of the Year, when I do my preseason, I'm thinking of, who's going to get a lot of hype for one. In terms of their name, and who's going to have the ball in their hands to do enough to potentially get that award. So, number 4, I have Killian Hayes. I think it won't be long before Killian Hayes takes over a starting point guard role for Detroit if he's not the starting point guard day one and they decide to bring D Rose off the bench. Killian Hayes is going to have the ball in his hands no matter what, whether it be off the bench as a lead guard for the second unit or in the starting rotation. I think Killian Hayes is going to put up great numbers, and so he's my number 4. Number 3, especially now with the potential of John Wall being traded, Deni Avdija. He's not going to put up great scoring numbers, obviously, because he's playing next to Bradley Beal, who's going to be taking the majority of the shots. But Deni Avdija is going to have the overall numbers argument, where he's going to have the points, the rebounds, and the assist, and the defense to back up his case for a Rookie of the Year award. Number 2, Les said it, Cole Anthony. He potentially might be the leading scorer out of all rookies this year because he's probably going to have the most opportunities. He's probably going to be the starting point guard, maybe not day one, but won't be that far into the season. And I think from there, when you're looking at that Magic roster, outside of Vucevic in that starting rotation, he's probably going to be the second or third leading shot taker right out the gates. So, and number 1, who I think is the clear cut because he's going to have the image, the name, the all-around stats, everything, LaMelo Ball. If I had to take a guess, LaMelo Ball, I would probably say his rookie year comes out and puts somewhere around 14, 6, and 8. And I think those numbers right off the bat are good enough for him to win a Rookie of the Year, especially if Charlotte were to push to make an 8 seed in the Eastern Conference.
I think even if they don't, LaMelo's going to have a good enough season to be, and especially like you touched on it perfectly. When you talk about the brand name, everyone knows, like even the most casual NBA fans know who LaMelo Ball is. I mean, when you have that kind of aura around you, it's similar to when Zion was coming in the league. You're having all those cameras on you at all times. I mean, you're going to get noticed. Even if you have maybe subpar performances here and there, the attention's always going to be there, and everything you do is going to be put under a microscope and highlighted. So I think that definitely gives an edge to LaMelo in that aspect. So But yeah, I like him as definitely as my rookie of the year.
Excuse
I
me.
think personally, maybe
Charlotte
more. I think might have the best NBA career
$20
in
million.
this draft, maybe. But
Charlotte gave Gordon Hayward $120 million.
that they did. That they did.
I'm quitting school. I'm going to play basketball.
Well, I think it's too late for that.
This motherfucker is gone. It's worth $120 million. No, $50 million max, but no.
So there's our NBA draft recap.
So I think it's time to talk about some NBA free agency now.
Whoo, let's talk about it. Because Les, you know what's better than one championship? Two. Because that's what the Lakers are primed to do. Back-to-back NBA champions right now. They look like they are ready to make that leap to repeat next year. You add Dennis Schroeder. You add Montrezl Harrell last night. The surprise of the night probably for a lot of people. Nobody would have expected Montrezl Harrell to sign with the Lakers. And
Well, he's actually good friends with LeBron, so I'm wondering.
well, and his agent is also Rich Paul. But nobody would have expected, even with that, for Montrezl Harrell to sign with the Lakers. Part of that would probably be because nobody probably would have even thought that the Lakers would even have cap space to sign a Montrezl Harrell. And they managed to do it. And right now, you're running a potential lineup of Dennis Schroeder, Avery Bradley, LeBron, AD, JaVale McGee with Montrezl Harrell coming off your bench as your energizer and your closing game lineup of what I said, plus you add Montrezl Harrell instead of JaVale. The Lakers are in prime position for a repeat.
They're in position, yes. In position.
And I'm sorry, Mari, if the Brooklyn Nets stay put and don't get James Harden, they have zero chance against the Lakers in an NBA Finals matchup.
I don't think they have a chance if they do have James Harden, but that's just beyond me.
So, first, just shut the fuck up. Klucas, can you name that lineup to me again? The Lakers starting five?
The closing lineup or a starting five?
The five that you're putting in the last minute of the NBA Finals game.
Schroeder, Avery Bradley, LeBron, AD, and Montrezl Harrell.
So check this out. Your point guard is Schroeder, right?
Yep. Don't think I'm putting Dennis Schroeder on Kyrie Irving. I'm putting Avery Bradley on Kyrie Irving.
Oh, wow.
Better lockups.
Bradley is not locking up Kyrie.
I didn't say he is, but Avery Bradley has the better defense to potentially lock up Kyrie than Dennis Schroeder does.
That's the thing, though. You're 1 and 2. If they get Kyrie, if they get Harden, they're not fucking with Kyrie and Harden.
There's too much one-on-one. There's not going to be enough shots to go around.
There's only one basketball, Mari.
I understand that. I feel like
at some point, yes, they can make it work maybe in the beginning, but at some point, what you're going to see later on is, oh, Kyrie's upset with the amount of shots that he's taking. Oh, James Harden's upset with the amount of shots he's taking. You're not going to really hear it from Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant doesn't care. I mean, he cares, but he doesn't at the same time.
Kevin Durant's going to make the most of his opportunities regardless. So
Kevin,
listen. I'm pretty sure them three know what's going on.
In between a Kyrie and James Harden backcourt, who the freak is defending?
Use your big boy words, Klucas. It's okay.
Okay, if we're running this kind of like Barstool does, who the fuck is defending?
We're better than Barstool. Don't put us in the same category as Barstool.
What I'm saying is,
they're a bunch of Boston douchebags. We are not them.
They know that that's gonna be the things. Like I think they know like they're like the thing they're getting is there's only one basketball. I think they know that. I think they're all adults. They're all probably talking about it now about how shit's gonna run. I think people are just.
And okay, it's not gonna. First of all, let's go ahead and eliminate. It's not gonna happen. Houston has already said they are not trading James Harden to Brooklyn unless they're getting Kyrie Irving or Kevin Durant in return. So it's not gonna happen unless Brooklyn is giving up Kyrie Irving. It's not happening.
The issue I'm having is I mean, that's not really an issue. I was on the fence about James Harden going to Brooklyn anyway. I do feel like they should run the table with what they have first and go from there.
And
Where's
people don't even
Kevin?
realize with the Lakers is they still have Kyle Kuzma to trade for a potential piece.
Or even keep him in town, really, as a
Yeah.
potential scoring option.
Where your bench lineup could include Alex Caruso, KCP, Kyle Kuzma, and Montrezl Harrell.
It's a pretty nice bench.
This motherfucker went to LA. That just blew my mind. My nana loves it because she loves LeBron to death. But I could not fucking believe it.
No, I could definitely believe it. It happened.
And the Lakers are interested in signing Marc Gasol still.
Which that would be a perfect fit.
The
for the
perfect
Lakers.
5 next to Anthony Davis in a starting rotation.
I mean, somebody who can stretch the floor, play a little bit of defense, that can, most importantly, can pass from the high post. Most importantly, can pass from the high post for lobs to LeBron and AD.
And now I can run a lineup of Schroeder, Bradley, LeBron, AD, Gasol with Caruso, KCP, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and JaVale off the bench. Woo!
I just wish, man, that I wish Kobe was allowed to see his team do these things. But I still don't fuck with the Lakers. I don't care who they sign.
Well, you don't have to. So
they can sign Jordan fucking Noah, and I still won't cheer for the Lakers.
We're not asking you to cheer. We're just asking you to watch. They're just asking you to watch as they hang up a championship banner.
Number 18 coming soon.
If they do what you said they're planning on doing with Marc Gasol and trading Kyle Kuzma, maybe I'll get behind that. Rather going back to back, but no, I'll take that back. They don't really have a threat in the West no more because of Clay's injury.
Take Montrezl away from the Clippers, and now the Clippers are in question in the West.
No, Stephen A. said it best. He said Kawhi Leonard owes them so fucking much because they gave away their future for this man to blow a 3-1 lead. Like, no, you owe the city of LA a championship. And I agree. I don't think it's that he owes them like 2 or 3 because you don't get to be called a top 3 player in the league or top 5 and do that shit, you know? Kind of contradicted myself a little bit, but shit.
A couple other underrated signings. One that kind of came out of left field. Gallinari to the Hawks.
You know, that's one I want to talk about because I have this bet that Trae Young won't make the playoffs in his first.
Oh, never mind about Avery Bradley. Avery Bradley signs with the Miami Heat on a 2-year deal.
Good defensive player. Fits that scheme. Not overly excited about it, but oh well. But I have before that update happened, I have this bet that for $100, I might add, that Trae Young won't make the playoffs in his first 3 to 4 seasons. He's approaching on number 3 right now. They went ahead and, last season got Clint Capella. They had a good draft last year with bringing in Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter. They have a good young core, and they continue to add pieces, and now they brought in Danilo Gallinari, a guy that, as a Heat fan, that's who I really wanted in free agency. That's who I actually wanted at trade deadline last year, and that's who I wanted in free agency this year. And now the Hawks get him. So they're continuing to add to that roster. So I'm not ready to forfeit my $100 yet, but I will say the excuses will be closing in the near future for Trae.
Can we just say that this NBA season is going to be so fucking good?
We say that after every offseason, Mari. We really do.
Holy shit. I don't. I mean, yeah, you're right. I apologize. Fucking A, man. I think I sent you both the snap, Les, for responding, because some people don't. They, like,
Klucas don't respond to anybody's snap at all. Unless
I don't know why.
Unless it's something else.
There was one time I sent
Lucas
him a
knows what I'm
snap.
talking about.
I was clearly dissing Ohio State, and Klucas just didn't budge at all. And I'm like, bruh, are you
He only responds if he sees you on somebody else's story. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
That's actually hilarious because it's so true.
So I have a question. What should Brooklyn do then? You think they should keep the team how it is?
Yes. It's going to give you your best depth.
If KD makes the finals, when KD makes the finals, if he loses, would you hold it against his legacy?
We should.
Would you hold it against
if you put KD in the same category as LeBron,
unless he goes
against his legacy.
I mean, yes, technically. But okay, now unless like for some ungodly reason, like the Portland Trailblazers or somebody make the finals and he loses to like the Trailblazers or loses to like the Jazz or somebody like that, if they were to make the finals, yes, I'm holding it against his legacy.
KD's in the.
I'm talking about in the finals, bud.
Okay, my bad.
But if he goes up against LeBron, AD, Montrezl Harrell, Dennis Schroeder, and the Lakers, and they lose, no, I'm not going to count that against his legacy. Now, whether that's other sports writers decide to carry that and say, oh, well, that's a loss, that's a blemish, yada, yada, that's on them. I personally would not hold it against his legacy. You lost against the GOAT.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But, I mean, I'm just using your own logic. I mean, because every time LeBron loses in the finals, that's a blemish on his legacy. That's the only reason I even came in with my point. But anyways,
that's a misconception. Like I don't. There's only probably like 2 NBA finals that LeBron lost where I was like, yeah, you should have fucking won, and that was against Dallas. And there was one was Dallas, and the other one he could have lost that finals, but it's the way he lost that I think fucked up his legacy was the Spurs that when they blew him out for 4 straight games. That was the only one. Personally, that one is
all-time great Spurs team.
Kind of the first year against KD, just because of how he lost.
But he lost against 4 All-Stars.
Yeah, he had the shot in his eye. Can I read? Oh, it's right there. Oh shit, it's right there. Wow, look at that guy. Look at him. That picture really does good. No,
it's amazing because he couldn't beat LeBron until he went to Golden State.
Listen, LeBron does not want smoke.
It's amazing that until KD went to Golden State, LeBron was, what was it? I believe it was 23-2 all time against Kevin Durant.
I think you are correct.
I don't think it was 23-2. That sounds.
No, it was. I remember the stat line exactly because they said the stat line on a Christmas Day game when Miami blew out Oklahoma City.
When they go against each other, it's a one-on-one matchup, right or wrong? Right, exactly.
What?
And he's carrying LeBron up.
I didn't hear anything you just said.
Yeah, you kind of just mumbled there, bud.
Every matchup, love you have a good day. They go one-on-one every day. Every time they play against each other, they go one-on-one, right or wrong?
Yeah.
So tell me why the GOAT is not wanting to guard KD in the finals.
It's all about strategy. Why would I put?
No. Hold on. No. You don't put J.R. Smith on fucking.
No. Because Kevin Durant was not the one guarding LeBron in the finals. It was Iguodala. They slid Kevin Durant down to Kevin Love.
What finals was that?
And both of them. They had Iggy guarding LeBron.
No, I'm saying what game? Like, what was the score? Like, was it close? Because
I'm talking about in the series.
No. I understand throughout the game you might switch up, but in those closing moments, yeah, you have to guard the best player on each team. The 2 best to go at it. You didn't see Jimmy switching up when he was he stayed on Giannis.
I'm sorry, and in any closing moments, I don't ever see Kevin Durant guarding LeBron.
And you know
what I saw when
LeBron was getting his ass kicked.
Because you know what I saw when Oklahoma City played Miami in the NBA Finals? You know what I saw that entire Finals? I saw Thabo Sefolosha guarding LeBron.
Yeah, he's like a 24-year-old Kevin Durant. You LeBron fans are so quick to go to that finals. Like, yes, you were the superior fucking team against a bunch of early 20-year-olds.
And Oklahoma City was favored.
Favored to win the finals?
Yes.
Right.
You realize the only final series LeBron there's been two now after last year. LeBron has only been favored in 2 NBA finals in his whole career. Two. Last year's against Miami, and then the Dallas series. Outside of that, he has never been favored in the NBA finals.
I think he was favored in his first finals match against the Spurs.
You're going to have to show me that stat. I don't believe it.
He's never been favored. In the Oklahoma City matchup, Golden State was the favorite. Oklahoma City was the favorite. In
I do remember
every
that.
Golden State matchup, Golden State was the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And even both the San Antonio matchups, and when he was in Miami, San Antonio was favored.
I do think that the first matchup with San Antonio and Miami was.
San Antonio was favored. I think the second year, because the Heat had beat him the year before, maybe the Heat were favored that year.
I'm saying I think they were favored the first matchup because that was the Heat team that won 27 games in a row. That's why I believe they were favored.
I'd have to go back and look at that. But even then, 3 out of 9 finals, you're favored. Every one of them else, you're the underdog.
3 out of how many finals?
9? Was it 9 or 8?
It's been at 10, buddy.
Okay, well, sorry.
You're the LeBron. You're the LeBron stan on the show. You should know this.
He's 3-6, is he not?
He's 4-6. He just won.
Oh yeah, that's why. Because I'm not counting this year. That's why. Okay, sorry, 4-6. I'm sorry. This NBA season is fucked up starting on Christmas Day. So
it's okay. I blemished on the LaMelo Ball Rookie of the Year thing because I for whatever reason did not include him in my first 5. I don't know how, but
so okay. Even then, you're favored in 2, possibly 3. We got to look that up to be sure. 2, possibly 3 finals out of 10. Yes, Oklahoma City was favored going into that because they had just beaten the reigning champs, the Dallas Mavericks, and they beat the LA Lakers in the Western Conference. They were the favorites going into the Miami series. And with Westbrook, Harden, Durant, and Ibaka, they could not beat.
Oh, that's who it was. I heard Brooklyn was trying to make a move at Ibaka too. I knew it was somebody else on the OKC team they were trying to get.
Yeah, because that's just what they need is another big man to put next to Jared Allen and DeAndre Jordan.
Honestly, at least this one can stretch the floor.
I think Brooklyn is fine the way they are, dude. I think they're overthinking it.
I don't know. With the way Milwaukee just redid their offseason, even without Bogdanovich, Milwaukee could be in better position to push Philadelphia with all their acquisitions we just talked about.
I want to talk about that real quick because I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't like the move at first, the Drew Holiday trade. I didn't at first because I felt like not because I don't believe that Holiday is an upgrade over Bledsoe because I do, but the fact that they gave away
3 first-round picks.
That's why I was like, yeah, I'm a little questionable about that. But in turn, it does make them look. It does help them. It adds defense. It adds better perimeter shooting. I was watching a video that talked about how Drew Holiday excels in the spot-up shooting game over Eric Bledsoe, so it's a better fit to be around Giannis. So I think Drew Holiday could be potentially.
And he's more ready for the moment too.
Well, yeah. I think he's a better fit as that third option next to Giannis and Middleton.
Like part of the biggest issue with the Bucks in the playoffs is, yes, Giannis does play a part in it, and I do think eventually he's going to break out of that. But it's been the fact that they get no contribution outside of Giannis or Chris Middleton. And part of that has been Eric Bledsoe because they lean on Bledsoe to be that third guy, and it just never happened. Drew Holiday is a more consistent player that you can lean on to say, okay, if Giannis does get hurt again or something like that, and we have to rely on Chris Middleton, who can help out Chris Middleton? And Drew Holiday could very easily, at times, take over and be that number 2 option over Chris Middleton, and then at times sit back and play that third option role.
I think Klucas had like the best reaction to that Drew Holiday signing. I remember getting the report and I ripped straight to Facebook. And in Klucas' voice, I read it as, who the fuck does Milwaukee think Drew Holiday is? And the shit just made my fucking day, bro. Like, that shit had me rolling the entire fucking day.
I like Drew Holiday, but maybe 5 years ago I would have given up 3 first-round picks for Drew Holiday if I was the Bucks. But not now. I would hesitate giving him 1 first-round pick for Drew Holiday.
Yeah,
I do think 3.
Yeah, I do think they still gave up a little bit of the future, too much of the future for him. But at the end of the day, I do think this move does make them in the short term better to win now.
If they gave up 3 first-round picks without even hesitating like that, they better be 110% confident that Giannis is going to re-sign and that they're going to win the way they have in the East, to where they're going to have lower picks and it's not really going to make that big of a difference.
That shit was too funny, dude. Who the fuck is this? Dude, Klucas would be the greatest NBA owner of all time, dude. If he acts the way he acts around us at like an ownership meeting, I think he'd be the greatest owner of all time.
My GM would show up to me and say, "Hey, we're going to offer Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, and 3 first-round picks for Drew Holiday." What the fuck are you thinking?
Nah, I see you doing the whole Vince McMahon thing. Just, Mr. GM, you're fired.
Like, what? Cut 3 first-round picks. I don't even think 2K would allow me to give 3 first-round picks for Drew Holiday.
I don't think they would. I don't think the other team would accept the trade
Like,
on 2K.
Like, good God, dude. Like, but there's one I do want to talk about a little bit. It kind of happened. We would have talked about it last week, but let's talk about Chris Paul to Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a great
stay put.
move. I think it's a great move. Phoenix makes the playoffs next year.
I mean, you have to believe that. I mean, they went 8-0 in the bubble. They're riding high off momentum. Now you add still one of the best point guards in the league, Chris Paul, Rajon Rondo's favorite player. Exactly. And so now you give Devin Booker the best point guard that he's had in his NBA career. You riding high off momentum off of the bubble performance. I think you have to think the Suns get over the hump and make the playoffs this year. Even with them trading away Kelly Oubre. Still have some decent pieces.
I think a lineup of Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and DeAndre Ayton more than get you over the hump. Especially since we just watched this team go 8-0 in the bubble. You know, they pushed. Yes, they didn't make the playoffs, but they made they made all the adjustments and everything they needed to do before going into next year. And then they added Chris Paul. So,
who is a proven player that makes every team that he's ever been on better.
So Phoenix to me slides anywhere for a playoff spot, potentially anywhere between. Now, I'm not saying that this is where they'll go, but anywhere between that 5 to 8 range, I think Phoenix slides into. Especially when you look at what Chris Paul just did for Oklahoma City, and I think this Phoenix roster is just a little bit better than what that Oklahoma City roster was going into last year. I think he slides anywhere easily 5 to 8 Phoenix for the playoffs next year.
See, I feel like you didn't have to make a thing saying that, mark my words, Phoenix is going to the playoffs. I feel like it was a giving when they signed Chris Paul after what he did in OKC and what they did in the bubble. So I didn't really think it was something people should like say as like a risk thing to say. It's more, to me, it was just kind of a given when they signed Chris Paul. That's just
Also,
me, though.
do you want to point out? I don't know if anybody saw my tweet. It's a very, very it's not a big move, but an underrated move that was made by the Hawks. They signed Chris Dunn.
Yeah, I did see that.
Underrated because he is a perfect backup complimentary point guard for a Trae Young. You're getting an all offensive point guard in your starting rotation, and bring off the bench a Chris Dunn who is going to be a lockup on defense. Is a great complimentary piece for Trae Young. And then also, I think Ricky Rubio going back to Minnesota is a very good move as well. The rotation of the ball on the court with a potential Ricky Rubio and D'Angelo Russell lineup would be phenomenal to watch.
You think Ricky Rubio and D'Angelo Russell are going to be starting at the same time?
No, but I'm saying at times
say.
when you run lineups with Rubio and D'Lo in the same, the ball rotation will be. There'll be a lot of times with Rubio and D'Angelo Russell. They'd be one of the few times in basketball you say you're passing way too much.
I also want to talk about and shout out to one of your guys, Klucas, on getting a well-deserved max contract in De'Aaron Fox. Because, I mean, it's not his fault that Phoenix has had their shortcomings in the playoff
Sacramento.
standings. What'd I say? I was trying to say Kings, but yeah, Sacramento. Not his fault.
I wish he would have. Really I kind of wish he would have requested a trade and got out of Sacramento.
Well, I mean, as you just said, the Kings are one of your winners of the draft. So.
Yeah, but the problem is we kind of say that every year, though. We kind of say every year that the Kings kind of did very well in their draft, and yet they still sit in the same spot.
Well, it doesn't help when your franchise big couldn't stay healthy this season.
I just feel bad for Sacramento and De'Aaron Fox. Oh, my God. Anyways. So, yeah. Outside of that, hold on. I have a few here. We already talked about it. I like Kelly Oubre in Golden State, obviously.
Not the biggest fan of Miami's offseason. I like that we brought back Goran Dragic. The Dragon makes a return. I think we gave him a little too much money, though, for a 34-year-old point guard. I don't like the re-signing of Myers Leonard and Kelly Olynyk. And I think Avery Bradley fits the mold, but it's, again, nothing spectacular. I expected us to still make a bigger flash in free agency.
Yeah, I told you, $20 million for Myers Leonard is not worth it at all.
Not at all. I mean, especially with a guy who there were games he didn't even play in the postseason.
So, but I mean, really, outside of that, I mean, obviously the Cavs aren't going to do anything in free agency because nobody wants to play in Cleveland. So, still waiting on Andre Drummond to pick up that player option. That's about all we got going for us. So, all right. I think it's almost time to switch sports completely.
I think it is. I think it's time for your favorite segment of the week.
Yes. My NFL pick'ems for the week.
Which you are already off to an L, by the way.
Yep. Starting off 0-1. I did pick the Cardinals over the Seahawks. Part of that is because, the Seahawks just haven't impressed me at all the last couple weeks. Like, yes, Russell Wilson has had some, I won't say bad, but has had some off games the last couple of games. And I thought Arizona riding high off their Hail Mary win would be able to come in and get a W in Seattle and sneak one. But obviously I was wrong. Seattle walked away with the win. Last week I went 10-4. I am officially 98-48-1 on the year. The ones I got wrong. I'm man enough to admit this. I did pick the Titans over the Colts.
What?
Yep. Wasn't a fan of the way our offense had been playing the prior 2 weeks, and so I did not expect us to come out and put 34 on the Titans, but it happened, and we got the win. I I picked the Eagles over the Giants, and Danny Dimes was able to beat Philadelphia. I picked the Bills over the Cardinals, and obviously the Hail Mary at the end put an end to that one. And then I picked the Ravens over the Patriots, and silly me for picking Lamar on a Sunday night football game in prime time.
Where he won this fall. Mm-hmm.
So went 10-4 last week, starting off 0-1
Stop it,
this
Maury.
week. So Sunday, 1:00, Philadelphia is in Cleveland against the Browns.
I mean, I got the Browns. You have both your running backs back. Inconsistency from the Eagles. I like the Browns in this matchup.
Browns against who?
The Eagles.
Okay. Yeah, I can see the Browns. I was confused. I thought you said Browns and Bills, and I was like,
Okay, so I got the Browns. Little bit of, I mean, yes, you get both your running backs back, but a little bit of inconsistency on both sides of offenses from the Browns and the Eagles. But I like the Browns defense to make enough plays in this game. I got Cleveland winning 23-14 in this one. Falcons on the road against Taysom Hill and the Saints.
But I can't believe I'm saying this. I would like the Saints better in this matchup if they started Jameis Winston. So
Okay, they did say Taysom is starting, but you will see a lot of Jameis Winston.
I saw that too. I just don't understand the move there, but that's fine. I feel like it should be the other way around.
I think the reason is because New Orleans just gave that contract to Taysom Hill this offseason, and now I think Sean Payton is trying to prove to management a little bit as to why they gave Taysom Hill that contract and why he could be the quarterback of the future, when honestly I don't see why you wouldn't do Jameis Winston, but that's just me. So yeah.
But I still like the Saints to beat the Falcons. I'd be more comfortable if Jameis ends up getting more snaps than Taysom Hill, especially in throwing situations.
Hello, Mari.
Just give me a chance, my folks. I kind of agree.
Looked like he was about to fall asleep.
I take it back. No, it was just, that was my fault. I got distracted by this text I got from a female.
You never know what you're gonna hear from Mari. First, he's not wearing pants. Then he's like, he's watching the game in his underwear, and now he's like, "Oh, I got distracted from a text I got from a female." Oh my gosh.
Well, it started with him hopping on. You see my stomach? Because I don't.
That's right. Yeah, the viewers aren't going to see that. But, yeah, Maury hops on the show and goes, "Hey, guys, you see my stomach?" Nope.
Because I don't.
Jameis Winston, I agree with that. I prefer Jameis over anybody on that fucking roster. Next, outside of Drew Brees, when Drew Brees is injured, I do think it was kind of a, what do you call it? Just trying to get in their head by saying they're starting Taysom Hill. Then we all know Taysom Hill is not going to be on the fucking starting the whole fucking game. Like, I prefer Jameis, and I still choose the Saints, especially if Jameis Winston is taking most of the snaps.
Well, thank you for going word for word what I said, Maury. Thank you for that.
I've got the Saints winning 24-20. I think the Falcons, ironically, jump out to an early lead with Taysom Hill starting. And I think Jameis is able to do enough with those New Orleans weapons to lead a comeback. And I think the Saints win 24-20.
That's the W.
Eat the W.
Don't do that ever again.
I do not. I would love to be in that huddle as he's doing that. I feel like, yo, James, you good, guy?
Okay. So You told me when LeBron won the championship and I did my goat noises to never make goat noises again. Maury did something. I'm not remembering it. Or I think he did the caca. Yeah. You told him not to do that again. Les, this is yours. Don't
I
ever
was
do
saying,
that
now
again.
I think it's a fair balance now. Now we all have like one thing that we should never do again on this podcast.
Yeah. Please. Anyways, moving on because that was disturbing.
That was disturbing.
Titans in Baltimore taking on the Ravens.
Well, I'll go first here. I'm just going to go ahead and get it out because I know you bitches are going to say it anyway. I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee won this game by a lot. But kind of just for cushion, I'm going to have Lamar win this game by only a touchdown. Not by a lot, just a touchdown. But I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee literally ran away with this one.
Well, I'm glad because especially after the performance last week against New England, Tennessee being the team that in a lot of ways exposed Lamar's weakness on a grand scale, I like for them to do the same thing this week against Baltimore. And I like the Titans in this matchup. Unfortunately.
Yep. I expect the Titans to do the exact same thing they did in the AFC title game last year. Or sorry, not the AFC second round game last year.
I was going to say, hold on.
Yeah.
Lamar has no playoff wins, buddy. So,
yeah, I expect them to do the same exact thing they did last year. I got the Titans winning this one 30-24. Lions in Carolina. I have two different predictions for this, and you'll know why when I say it.
So I have, obviously, I'm going Carolina. I love you, man. I have Carolina because I honestly think Carolina, kind of like what smooth football is now, they're way better than their record. They're just having trouble closing their games out. Also,
I think if they just had Christian McCaffrey, they'd be fine.
Yeah, and you're also in the best division in football right now. So
they are not in the best division of football, but
we all have an opinion.
If you honestly think the division that includes the Falcons and the Panthers right now is a better division than the NFC West.
I would say the NFC West is by far the best division.
I got them confused.
The fact that you're going to lead that, the fact that, oh my gosh, yeah, they're the best division.
I have Carolina. I have Carolina by like 5 touchdowns. No, sir. Not by 5, but Carolina by a lot. I do expect it to be a blowout.
It definitely won't be a blowout, but I do like the Panthers in this matchup, especially Kenny Golladay is now back on the injured reserve list, so sucks for my fantasy team. I'm sure Matt Stafford will give me another 20 points like he does every week, but no, I like the Panthers in this matchup. Like Maury said, they're better than their record indicates, but yeah, it's the Lions. They suck.
Well, I have two different predictions. I have one if Teddy plays, and I have one if he doesn't. Right now, Teddy Bridgewater is questionable to play.
Not more.
So right now, as it stands, Teddy is projected to play. So I have the Panthers winning 34-27 over Detroit. But if Teddy does not play and P.J. Walker is the starting quarterback for Carolina at that point, I have Detroit winning 27-20 over Carolina.
I think that's fair.
Patriots and Texans in Houston.
Coming off the big win against Baltimore, I'd look for the Patriots to start getting back into the swing of things. And Houston has just had a disappointing season, which we kind of expected, kind of starting with the trade of DeAndre Hopkins in the offseason. So, like the Patriots in this matchup.
Well, same. Yeah. I actually feel like New England is starting to get the groove back. You know, that big win against Baltimore is definitely something you can build some momentum off of. You know, they're not the best team.
But those memes that say Don't put the exact same answer as me, so the teacher can't tell we cheated. That's what I feel like Maury with his answers. I feel like he said
I didn't
the
even
exact
hear.
same thing I am. He's just trying to word it a hair bit differently, so
I
so
didn't even
Lucas doesn't
hear.
think he's cheating off me.
Well,
I didn't even
not
hear
so
him.
fast, my friend. I've got the Houston Texans winning in a blowout. I think Deshaun Watson is able to open it up against this defense because Deshaun Watson has a vertical passing game that Lamar Jackson doesn't. And I like the Houston Texans in this one 33-17 over New England.
He also doesn't have the roster around him that Lamar does either.
And that's fine. Brandon Cooks has broken out of his shell the last couple games.
He has.
So I like the Houston Texans in this one. And ever since, Bill O'Brien's left Houston, that offense seems to run a little bit better. So Steelers in Jacksonville against the Jaguars.
The Steelers stay undefeated, especially Minshew still out. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't going to beat them. They weren't going to beat the Steelers with Minshew, let alone without him. So, like the Steelers in this matchup, they stay undefeated. The lone undefeated team in the NFL. And Teasley lets us know about it every Sunday.
Pittsburgh. That's it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna piggyback off what Teasley said last week when he thought it was disrespectful that I picked the Steelers only to beat the Bengals by, I believe it was a touchdown. I'm gonna piggyback off what Teasley said because actually what he said was pretty right. That the Steelers blow out the Bengals and the Browns, and they play very badly against teams that aren't in their division. Well, not badly, but they play down to their competition against teams that aren't in their division. I got the Steelers winning this one, but I got them winning only by a field goal in Jacksonville, 27-24. Bengals against the team with no name.
I like Joe Burrow to dominate this matchup. I don't trust teams without a name, so Bengals.
Guess what?
You're going to say the exact same thing as me, but
And the Charlotte Hornets have waived Nicholas Batum so they can sign Gordon Hayward. And Indiana Hoosiers just picked off Justin Fields for the third time, and then Indiana fumbled it right off the return. And
I'm literally tweeting about it right now. Indiana's just put themselves in good position twice now, only to fumble it back to the Buckeyes.
The fact that they picked Justin Fields off 3 times today is ridiculous. Anyways, continue, Mario. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. I have the no-name team winning this game. That's my upset for the week. And honestly, I feel like the football team is kind of did better than what at least I expected. And you have not the best offensive line in the world, and you have one of the best defensive rookies coming at you at full speed. So, yeah, good luck running away from Chase Young.
Give me the Bengals. Ironically, me and Les did not like T. Higgins going into this draft, and he's actually been very, very solid for Cincinnati.
He has. We'll see if he keeps it up.
So, and like I've been saying, I think Burrow and A.J. Green are slowly developing their connection. It's a lot slower than Cincinnati would like, but they are slowly developing it. I like Joe Burrow and the Bengals in this matchup 27-17 because I do not trust Washington's offense to put points on the board, although I would love for Terry McLaurin to catch just one touchdown this week to give me fantasy points. So next, 4:05 games, the Jets against the LA Chargers.
The Jets suck.
I don't know why that was so funny.
I think that tells you who my pick is, though.
Les could have just poker faced at the camera. He would have known who this pick was.
I think it was funny because it kind of just like echoed in your condo there. So it was like, The Jets suck.
Yeah, I think that tells you who my pick is.
All right, Mari, who are you picking? You're the Jets fan.
No, his roommate's the Jets fan.
No, he's a Jets fan too. He just won't tell you.
I'm a Jets fan too. Yeah, I just don't say nothing.
They've given you no reason to say anything at all.
The week they play the Patriots, I almost picked the Jets to win, and then the Jets almost won, and yeah, but they didn't. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers just because.
Yep. Give me the LA Chargers 23-13, and I won't say any more. How about the red hot Miami Dolphins? The red hot, smoking hot Miami Dolphins are in Denver against the Broncos.
5 straight wins for the Dolphins. Tua time is alive. I like the Dolphins to win their 6th straight game. I like the way they play. I mean, it's not just offense, it's not just defense. I mean, they just get a consistent effort all around, and they're fun to watch.
Mari?
I honestly, it's just Dolphins by a lot. I just don't like Denver, to be honest with you. They're outside of Von Miller, they're very disappointing. But I got Miami.
Well, they've been injury riddled, so
I take it back. I got Miami by a field goal.
give me Miami in this one, 26-17. Injury riddled Denver is just taking a lot of hits this year. 425 Cowboys are visiting Minnesota to face Kirk Cousins, who got his first ever Monday Night Football win on Monday.
Oh, man, it only took you, 10 to 12 tries? Congratulations. It's about freaking time, Kirk. But, however, I like for him to get the win over the Cowboys. The Cowboys have a terrible defense. They're on their, 3rd, 4th string quarterback now? Yeah.
Nope, Andy Dalton will be back this week.
Huh?
Andy Dalton's back this week.
Oh, Andy Dalton is back. I still got the Vikings. I don't think they can stop Dalvin Cook on the ground the way he's playing in recent weeks.
And if I can interject, I don't understand because Andy Dalton, at least to me, is not a bad quarterback. I thought in the Cowboys system with CeeDee Lamb and all those guys that he would not thrive, but be.
Well, to be fair, we only really got to see him in 2 quarters of football before he got killed.
Well, yeah, I'm saying that Andy Dalton is my when Dak got injured, hope he recovers. He was my kind of sleeper for just bringing the Cowboys back to life. Is what I'm saying, and he still kind of is. So you say he comes back. I have the Cowboys winning this game.
All right. Well, give me the Minnesota Vikings by a lot. Adam Thielen finally came back to life on Monday Night Football with 2 touchdowns. We know what Justin Jefferson has been doing all year. He has been given nothing but high praise this whole entire rookie year. I believe it was Jerry Rice the other day said, or no, sorry, Jerry Rice did comment on him, but Richard Sherman said the other day, Justin Jefferson isn't playing like a rookie. He's playing like a 6-7-year vet. And I, like you talked about, Dalvin Cook is very hard to stop on the ground right now. And then when you have 2 weapons on the outside with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen playing the way they have been, give me the Vikings, 31-17 over Dallas. How about the game of the week, in my opinion? Well, you can argue this in the Monday Night Football game. Packers-Colts. The last time, because I shared it earlier, last time Aaron Rodgers and the Packers came to Indy, it led to a Reggie Wayne career-high game and Andrew Luck's first ever comeback win as a rookie. What started 1 of 10 that year.
We all know who I want to pick. But I can't. I think the Packers have too good of a team. I love the team we have, but what it's going to come down to is a point that Klucas and I make constantly on the show. When you have 2 very good, complete teams, it comes down to quarterback and coaching. Not that I have anything against Frank Reich, because I think he's a great coach. But at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Philip Rivers. So I like him in this matchup. And I like the Packers to win this game. Don't want it. I hope I'm wrong. Going to be really glad when I'm wrong, if I'm wrong. But I think the Packers win.
Yeah, I disagree. I have the Colts.
I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong.
Yep, give me the Indianapolis Colts.
Because listen, the Packers struggled with bum-ass Jacksonville last week. Even though we can't
lost
talk
to Jacksonville the first game of the season.
That's what I just said. Thank you. I said, I know we can't talk, but we've obviously gotten better from it. But they're coming off a struggle. Let me tell you something about that Indy fucking defense. Let me tell you something. It's good.
It is very good defense. Packers have a very good defense.
I don't have a noise for Indiana. I have to come up with one probably next weekend. But I see Indiana winning this game. What a fucking throw by Indiana. But I have Indiana winning this
His name
game.
is Michael Penix Jr. Thank you.
But, well, I'm sorry. I just looked up and the ball was in the air.
To Alan Freifogel, what a name and what a season he's having.
Yeah, Indiana I wouldn't say it's a blowout, but we're going to win this game. I have full confidence we'll win this game.
So, Klucas, why are the Colts winning this game?
Give me the Colts because our defense is better than Green Bay's defense.
Talk your shit.
I think, honestly, and I've been saying it ever since the beginning of the year, we just need to switch Nyheim Hines from a running back to just a slot receiver. He just needs to be playing wide receiver.
Oh, he had a pretty good game on the ground against the Titans last Thursday.
We kind of have a running back by committee right now, but I think this week puts the end to it. I think Jonathan Taylor finally has his breakout game to secure his spot. And even if not, we're going to have a good enough ground game to keep the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hand. I think Philip Rivers makes no mistakes. I'm kind of hoping I'm right on that, and I'm kind of iffy on that right now. Philip Rivers makes no mistakes. Philip Rivers manages this game, and we do enough to win this game 30-27 off a game-winning field goal against the Packers. Rodrigo Blankenship.
Specs. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
All right. Sunday night football. Chiefs in Las Vegas against the Raiders. The Raiders got the Chiefs in Kansas City earlier this year.
Mahomes released the statement earlier this week that they're going to be ready. You're not beating the guy twice. I like the Chiefs.
Raiders. I have the Raiders going for the sweep.
Give me the Chiefs, but this is going to be a very close game. This will be a very close game. And give me the Chiefs 34-28 in this one. All right. Monday Night Football. Like I said, you can consider this game or the Packers and Colts game the game of the week. The Rams are in Tampa Bay against the Bucs.
I think the Bucs have found their niche. They're starting to get their groove at just the right time. I like them.
Mari.
Oh shit, my bad, dude. Shit. What are the teams again? I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
Monday Night Football. The LA Rams are in Tampa against the Bucs.
I'm going to go with. I want to go with LA, but I think I'm gonna go with Tampa. Tampa by a lot, a whole lot.
Give me the Buccaneers. I think, like Les said, the Bucks have found their niche, but also I think the Bucks are looking for a statement game going into their even bigger game next week. Give me the Bucks 38-33 over LA. They get the win going into what could be a Super Bowl matchup next week.
Who do they play next week?
They are at home against my homeboy and the Chiefs.
I really need to run a poll on the Twitter page. What is the better nickname for Patrick Mahomes? Is it Mahome Boy? Is it Master Chief? Let's see what the fans think. So I really need to do this. I thought about doing it earlier in the week and just never got around to it. So we're going to put an end to this debate that you and I are constantly having time and time again.
My homeboy.
Master Chief.
I can't believe we didn't cover college football today.
Well, we're still not even done with the pick'ems, are we?
Nope, that's it. Minus Monday Night Football.
Well, it's all right because we had a lot to talk about in the NBA world. And plus sides, damn near everything's canceled. I mean, the only game I really wanted to see today anyway was Ohio State and Indiana. Ohio State's got the 35-21 advantage right now. And I sent the tweet out on the Twitter page earlier that said, it must suck playing Ohio State. Indiana kept it close early, forced 2 turnovers for Justin Fields. Now, obviously, he has 3 now. But at the time I sent this tweet, they kept it close. And then with a snap of your fingers, Ohio State just pulls away. But Indiana it was good to get a touchdown for Indiana with a nice pass from Michael Penix Jr. to Allen Flyfogle. But I'm rooting for the Hoosiers, but they are severely outmatched from a talent perspective to the Buckeyes. That's the only game I cared about this week.
I can't wait to watch Alabama completely destroy Kentucky later.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be hilarious. I'm going to be catching highlights of that.
Alabama might as well just sit their starters because their backups will probably still beat Kentucky.
Both my teams are on bye this week, Texas
and if we weren't,
both my teams either canceled or postponed their games.
If Kentucky wasn't going to get blown out already as is against Alabama, they're missing 16 starters today, or 16 players, 5 starters.
I was going to say that. Damn, 16 starters. Holy cow.
Well, I'm just tired of all my favorite players in all my sports quitting before in the middle of the season.
Is it fair to say that you like quitters?
Oof.
I can't even argue that. I have a lot of my favorite players end up quitting. Yeah, wait a minute. Now, I only have 2 that I know for sure quit. But I mean, I couldn't wait to say this because I thought it was I personally think Hassan Hall was better than Hawkins because let me finish.
No.
So I don't know if you guys actually sit down and watch Louisville games, but when Hawkins has those games where he has like 25 rushes and 150 rushing yards, that looks great on paper, but nobody never knows how he got those yards. This man will have 14 rushes and 20 yards, right? And then break out for like an 80-yard gain. And then after the 80-yard gain, we'll go silent for the rest of the game. But you'll never know the box score. It's like saying he has all these rushing yards. Like, no. The guy has fumbled more times than probably any other running back I can think of in recent years. He's terrible. He's terrible at holding the fucking ball. He's a terrible blocker for one, too. With the Hassan Hall, you're getting those yards in like chunks. You're getting those yards like every other run. Not one big run, and then you're quiet for the rest of the game.
Oh, no, I think Javion Hawkins has that game breaker ability that you look for in like a star running back. So that's my personal opinion. But I believe that's all the time we have for today. As always, like and subscribe to the channel at Less is More Sports. Why the hell are you my co-host? The disrespect is real. I know where you live. I'm coming and fighting you after the show after that. Anyways, as always, tell us what you. I'm driving to Florida now to fight Mari. Shit, so I'm just gonna be like squaring up to people after the show. But anyways, as always, like and subscribe to the channel. Tell us what you liked and didn't like in the comment section below, and follow us on the social media pages at Less is More Sports.
Oh, at Jacob Klucas, my bad.
It's Marxic14, MARXIC14.
Also, like the Less is More Sports page on Facebook. But as always, we out. I'm Les Abbott.
Jacob Klucas.
Mari.
We out here.